Back in court in reward money scandal. Air Mauritius partners with Polytechnics Mauritius for training. More details in this bulletin. 300 agro-industry contract workers face end of employment. In world news, Brazilian judge declares Bolsonaro a flight risk. And in sports news, Mauritius hosts first Africa Region Junior Golf Team Championship. Between the governor of the Bank of Mauritius, Ramasitanen, and his number 3, Gérard Sanspeur, it seems we've reached the point of no return. In a statement to our colleagues at La Défi, Prime Minister Dr. Navin Ramgoolam said he is exasperated by the situation and considers it unacceptable that the number 1 and number 3 are openly at war. The head of government, who returned Sunday from Japan, has promised to act swiftly and decisively. One point of contention between the two originates from the recent suspension of Chiranan Raghubar, president of the Bank Employees Union, a unilateral suspension decided by the governor without prior consultation with his 2 deputies. The alleged involvement of Ramasitanen in the Menlo Park affair, coupled with the fact that he holds 2 major posts, governor of the Bank of Mauritius and chairman of the Financial Services Commission, is not helping his case. Deputy Prime Minister Paul Béranger is calling for his departure. In the Supreme Court, Rudolph Derek Jean-Jacques, known as Gros Derek, sentenced to 30 years in prison for drug trafficking, was granted leave yesterday to appeal his conviction before the Privy Council in London. The same authorization was granted to his accomplice Bruno Wesley Casimir. Ashi Bachu followed and provides a recap.
The 2 men had been found guilty of organizing between 2011 and 2012 the importation of dangerous drugs into Mauritius. Casimir had initially been sentenced to 30 years of penal servitude and a fine of 300,000 rupees, reduced on appeal to 28 years. Gros Derek had been sentenced to 32 years and a fine of 500,000 rupees, reduced on appeal to 30 years. Among their arguments, the absence of drug seizures, the lack of scientific proof regarding the nature and weight of the substances, and the fact that their conviction was based initially on the testimony of a single prosecution witness. The court considered that these issues raised are of great public and legal importance, justifying a review by the Privy Council. In the case, Casimir was represented by the lawyer Gulbul, while Gros Derek was represented by lawyer John Bacchus. The decision of the Supreme Court was delivered on August 25th by Senior Puny Judge Devatugara and Judge David Chan.
And staying with the courts, former head of the Special Striking Team, Police Superintendent Ashik Jagai, will return to court this morning in connection with the so-called reward money affair. Detained since 13 August, he is accused of having validated fraudulent payments exceeding 86 million rupees. More details with Priyanka Hari.
If these colossal sums were supposedly intended for police informant, they were allegedly inflated and distributed irregularly according to the Financial Crimes Commission. The investigation reveals that between 2020 and 2024, nearly 250 million rupees may have circulated through this reward system, a large portion of which is now raising serious suspicion. Ashik Jagai is not the only one implicated. ACP Dhanraj Gangadin, released on bail, is also among the suspects. Sergeant Yeshdev Sibarat is suspected of having acted as a frontman with more than 76,000 rupees passing through his bank account. Meanwhile, ASP Faraz Munyarat is accused of having overseen some of these questionable payments. Ashik Jagai's upcoming court appearance this Wednesday will be closely followed because beyond these astronomical sums, it is the public's trust in the police institution that now finds itself in the dock.
And now, first in Mauritius, Polytechnics Mauritius and Air Mauritius are joining forces to train the aeronautical technicians of tomorrow. The goal is to address the shortage of specialized manpower in aircraft engine maintenance and at the same time strengthen local skills. More on this with Shabniz Uzier Waidali.
Polytechnics Mauritius and Air Mauritius have jointly launched a brand new diploma, the Diploma in Engineering Technology Aircraft and Engine Maintenance. This groundbreaking project marks a turning point for higher technical education in Mauritius and for the future of the local aviation industry. In response to growing demand and at a time when Air Mauritius has often faced technical problems, the program aims to train young professionals capable of working on aircraft engines in line with the highest international standards of safety and precision. The chairman of the board of Air Mauritius, Kishore Bigu, emphasized that this initiative is part of a broader vision to build a genuine ecosystem of excellence, reduce reliance on foreign manpower, and ensure that Mauritian talent can meet global standards. A strategic partnership that positions Mauritius on the path towards greater self-reliance and technical excellence in a key sector of its economy.
And in other news, around 300 employees working under the aegis of the Ministry of Agro-Industry for over 2 years have been informed that their last working day will be this Friday. These employees were assigned to several ministry entities including Bois de Bellhomme, Rochebois, Le Pétrine and Combo. Contacted by our journalist Priyanka Hari, Kevin Rahuman, director of the National Parks and Conservation Service, specified that these employees were working on a specific project and on a contractual basis. And it's 9:07. You're listening to RM1, where we move to international news. A Brazilian judge on Tuesday declared far-right ex-president Jair Bolsonaro, currently under house arrest while awaiting the verdict in his coup plotting trial, a flight risk and placed him under round-the-clock watch. Bolsonaro faces 40 years in prison if convicted of plotting to cling to power after losing the 2022 elections to left-wing candidate Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The verdict is expected early next month. The Supreme Court Justice who is presiding over the trial asked police to conduct full-time surveillance of Bolsonaro. And finally, in sports, Mauritius is hosting this week the very first edition of the Africa Region Junior Team Championship. The competition was launched on Monday at Tamarina in the presence of the president of the African Golf Confederation. 4 foreign nations are expected to compete against young Mauritian golfers in a 3-day tournament on the greens. And that's all from me this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned now to the Intermediate playlist until 10 a.m.